After the success of the original Resident Evil, a lot of games tried to jump on the survival horror bandwagon. Some merely copied scary imagery and static camera angles in an effort to replicate a winning formula. Others built and expanded upon what worked so well, and in doing so created new franchises. One of those that broke the mold was from an unexpected developer. Released by Squaresoft in 1998, Parasite Eve for the original PlayStation used their knowledge of RPG mechanics layered in with a horror narrative. Based as a sequel to the Japanese horror novel of the same name, the game mixes large pre-rendered backgrounds with 3D models set around New York City during Christmas. After attending an opera with her date, cop Aya Brea becomes entwined in a story that features heavy medical explanations, grotesque monsters, and a battle system that's reminiscent of previous Squaresoft titles. The game itself takes place over multiple days. The first few days are mainly a tutorial whilst you get to grips with the combat system, but it also does introduce the upgrade system for weapons and armour. The first day has a great pace, letting you get to grips with moving, searching for items and fighting. The second day does continue this, but it does drag on a bit with some really heavy exposition dumps right in the middle of it, and it brings the pace right down to a crawl, though it's not long after that it does pick back up again. Movements throughout the environment can be quite slow though, even when running. Controlling Io is the same in battles as it is out of them, so it can be quite troublesome to dodge enemy attacks until you start learning enemies and bosses' attack patterns. Attacks are carried out with guns and melee weapons once your ATB gauge is charged. When you do get into a position to attack, a wireframe dome that represents your range expands from Aya. Depending on how many shots and the type of weapon, you then select a target to shoot. Enemies don't stay still though, so it's best to time your attacks and make sure they hit without them moving out of range. It doesn't take too long to get used to the combat, and generally it's fine. There can be times when you will get pinned or surrounded by enemies, but as long as you stay out of the open, this generally doesn't happen. A full ATB bar doesn't just mean attacking though, it's the time when you can use items or your PE attacks. You can also use your PE, which is essentially magic in this game, to do things like healing, speed up your ATB bar, or even fire off massive shots of energy. Knowing when to attack and when to heal is common in RPGs, but in this game, because everything is happening all at once, you really do need to balance it out well. It made for a fun twist in battles compared to a lot of the RPGs that are out at around this time. The enemy design is probably one of the standout pieces of the game. From the first time you see a rat turn into a monster to even dinosaurs being reanimated, there is a great collection of terrifying beasts to tackle. The bosses range from a giant centipede, a spider, and the main threat Eve, who herself transforms into many different mutations throughout the story. Each are mostly accompanied with a CGI cutscene before fighting, which for the time look absolutely stunning, in a grotesque hideous way. Like most of the game, they still hold up well, and really show the escalation of danger that you will face. It can however be tough sometimes to actually see an item chest or an interactable object because of the graphics. Sometimes you could be looking for something and not even know that something is even clickable. But for the most part, the graphics do hold up by PS1 standards, and as I said in my top 5 games that need to be remade video, I'd love to see this updated to current capabilities. The music has some memorable tunes, like the battle theme and the title theme, and the sounds you hear throughout the game are fine, though the noise of Aya running faster than her feet animate can get old real fast. The game isn't too long, though a first playthrough may take a while due to having multiple areas to explore and there being a lot of areas and rooms that lead to nothing more than a fight, meaning you have to backtrack. The difficulty isn't too bad either, though again, there's the odd fight or area that if you're not prepared for can quickly lead to a game over. I played this back in the day when it was released because my brother bought it, and from knowing absolutely nothing about it, I really enjoyed the visual design and the combat. Even playing it again for this review, there wasn't really anything I disliked, save for the running speed and the odd bit of backtracking. If you're a fan of Vagrant Story, Chrono Trigger and Star Ocean for battle systems while also enjoy horror games, then I'd highly recommend you check this out. The game did receive 2 sequels. Parasite Eve 2 feels completely different than the first, and apart from just featuring Aya, that's about it. And personally, I don't really enjoy it that much. I don't find the enemy design particularly too well, and the cutscenes, while still holding up really well, they changed the artistic design, and I don't really think that I like the look of them. The Third Birthday, on the other hand, once again did change everything up, but I found the combat to be actually serviceable this time. I originally played it when it came out on PSP, but I've since played it on the Vita TV as well, and thankfully because you can change the controls, it's actually a lot more enjoyable now. But again, aside from featuring Aya, it basically has nothing to do with the series. So if you ever do come across a copy of Parasite Eve, I'd recommend you pick it up, it is a real fun time. Again, I'd love to see it remade, but this is just another one of those fingers crossed moments. But that's just my opinion on it. What's your opinion? Have you ever played Parasite Eve 1, 2 or Third Birthday? If you have played any of them, then why not drop a comment below? I might bring myself to play Parasite Eve 2 all the way through just to make a review, but to be honest, I'd much rather play the Third Birthday. That game's actually enjoyable. But if you do want to see me cover them, let me know, although I really would just rather not waste my time, to be honest. In the meantime though, next up's going to be a few games that cover a lot of different franchises and a lot of different genres, and I've been looking to do them for quite a while, so I'm really looking forward to it. Anyway, I've been Tom for VPG Gaming, thank you for watching and have a great gaming day.